Hi, Julie Deal Mooney here to work on my dashboard number 5 for November. So I have a washi page for the front. So I've picked out my washi, I got a piece of vellum, and then I have some pieces that I'm going to be working with one of the small dashboards for the back side of it. So I'm going to get everything out of the way and start off by trimming my vellum to the size of my planner page, which is an A5, which is 5.8 inches by 8.3 inches. And now I am getting out my mat, which is really dirty at this point. And I am setting it up so that it is perfectly centered. I am counting the little squares so that I get it centered right in the center of my mat where I have the perfectly marked parts. You can see I have a 45-degree angle marked on my mat. And then I take my washi tapes and I put them off to the side and I kind of put them in whatever order I'm going to lay them down. And so the first piece of washi tape that I put down, I put it right along the 45-degree angle, and I didn't put it down correctly. And so I have to take it back up, but I put it right down the 45-degree angle, and that holds my piece of vellum to the mat below. So at that point, it really helps because then my piece of vellum isn't going to move around. And so I am using lots of different washi from the Cocoa Daisy Acorn Lane kits, and that is from November of 2020. And then I have also pulled some washi from October Cocoa Daisy washi, and then I think one of them is that brown floral, I think is from either October or November of 2019. So what I'm going to do is I'm setting up a washi pattern here, and the easiest way that I could figure out to do it was to do the strips of washi in the center that go all the way, and then I can do the ones that run perpendicular to the ones down the middle. So I messed up that that piece of plaid. I love that plaid foiled washi from October. The Cocoa Daisy washis, the foiled ones, are just gorgeous. So, so now that I've gotten that done, I'm going to put down the washis that run at an opposite angle from the most previous ones that I put out that match the ones that I put down in the middle. And once I get all the washi down, then I'm going to trim off the excess pieces. This seems more difficult than it has to be. I did get out of sync with my order of my washis. I think I put them down wrong, or I started going backwards instead of forwards, but I realized it before I'd gotten too far down the road. So I've gotten all my washi put down at this point, and now I'm going to trim them to make it look neat. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the edges and peel up the pieces from the sides so that then I just have my sheet of paper so that I can turn it around. And for me, the easiest way to use an X-acto knife is to always cut on the right-hand side because I'm right-handed. So it's easier for me to turn the whole entire mat, since this thing is taped down to the mat, than it is to do anything else. So that's kind of how I do this every time. And so now I've got my sheet of paper. I have to clean up my mat. There's lots of washi stuck to it. And this is my least favorite part of this adventure, is getting all the washi up from the mat after I finish working on it. I cleaned up my mat after this, after I finished filming. So it is nice and clean again now, but at the time it has some gunk on it. And so now I am figuring out where my last piece of washi was, and I'm trimming about a 1/16 of an inch away from that piece of washi so that I just get a nice clean edge on the ones that were previously overlapping it. And so I'm just going to do this 3 more times on all the different sides. And so then it makes this really nice pattern on your washi page. And I use a piece of vellum because the vellum that I have, the washi does not stick to it, so it's easy to peel it up. Someone was telling me that their washi was getting torn when they were trying to use it. And so I use, this is Glamma vellum. I also have UV Ultra vellum. There's one that I forgot I missed. And those are the two that I have, and washi does not really stick to either of them. So now that I've got this pattern, I want to use one of the rub-ons, and can I just say that I love the rub-ons from November for Cocoa Daisy. They just, they rub on so easily. Every bit of them comes off clean. They look great. They're easy to use. So I am super happy with these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this rub-on, the one that I've chosen, and I'm just going to put it on a piece of cardstock. And I'm going to rub it down and make sure that I have it very nicely. Just make sure that all the color comes off of it. You can see that it's already starting to peel up a little bit. So look at that. It peels up perfectly. And it looks great. And so now what I'm going to do is I am going to take that and I'm just going to cut around the edges and give it a white border, just so that it gives it some relief from the washi that's on the page. And that's just going to be the focal point in the center of my washi page. And so it says, "This is my happy place." I like to do a washi page every month. So if you look at that very closely, it's not perfectly even. I don't think anybody cares. I don't care. And, you know, for as often as I'm going to see it, it's perfectly fine. So now I'm going into my stash of extra papers, and this is that same little bit of the 4x6 card that said November on it, that has the kind of mustardy gold subtle stripe in the middle of it. So I'm just going to put that down the middle of the page like a belly band, and then I'm going to attach my rub-on in the center of it, and voila, my washi page is done. I think I need to trim the, yeah, I got to trim the edge off of that belly band right there, and that page is done. So all I need to do now is punch the holes in it, and it'll be ready to put in my book. But now I'm going to, after I get my rub-ons put back up, because that is one of the things with them, you want to be very careful with them and put them back in the packaging after you use them. You also want to make sure that you cut the rub-on that you're going to use, cut it off of the sheet before you try to rub it onto something, so that you don't accidentally rub on something else. So for the back side of this, I have chosen a piece of the planner paper with the little leaves on it, and I'm trimming that down to 5.8 by 8.3, and I am using scraps that I have left over, and I have just determined that I'm going to cut them to, I think it's 3/4 of an inch that I'm cutting each one of them to. I determined a width. Looks like it's about 3/4 of an inch. It might be an inch, but I think it's 3/4. And I'm just cutting them all the same width. I did this once before, and I did them at varying widths, but this time I decided that I wanted them all to be the same width. And so this is a really neat way if you have scraps of paper. It just gives you a lot of interest. And so that piece of wood paper from October had a lot of different colors in it. So I used a couple of different pieces from it because it was a couple of different colors. So now I'm just arranging them in the order that I think I want to put them down. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball what I want that length to be. And then at that point, I figured out what that width was, and I cut all the rest of them to that exact same width, so that they would all be the same width and the same height. And so now I'm just going back and trimming each one. And it's super simple and quick to do this, and it gives you a lot of visual interest, especially if, so this dashboard is a personal size, and since my page size is an A5, I could have just put it on the page, but I do like to use the washi, and I think I just decided, not really sure if I decided, oh yeah, I'm going back and putting them back in there. and making sure, because I was going to say, oh, and so I decided to look at it with the back side of the paper to see if I like that better. And I think I do, because the back side of the paper is not quite as busy. And then I'm looking to see if I would rather use that 4x6 card that says I think I love fall most of all. And I'm just looking at it all, seeing, and I decided that I wanted this dashboard to have a little frame around it. It just needed a little dark color to offset it from all of the papers behind it, because they were so similar in color to the actual card itself. And I just used a bit of the packaging from October to do the back side of that. And so now I'm going to punch the holes in both sheets and make sure that they line up. And now I'm going to look at that funny little squirrel. The squirrel just cracks me up. So I'm just marking where the corners of my dashboard are. And then I realize I marked them on the wrong side. And so I'm going to go back and I'm going to mark the corners of the dashboard again, so that I can make sure that I have it in the right spot. And so then I know that I get my papers kind of in the right spot. And so now what I am going to do is I'm going to notch each one of these pieces of paper. And some people may be able to just do that and it would all look nice, but I'm kind of a, soldiers in a row kind of person. So I'm measuring a 1/4 inch in, and I'm kind of eyeballing the center from top to bottom. But I am measuring a 1/4 inch in, so that when I cut the little notches out of the side, they're all pretty similar. I'm not being hyper picky about it, but then once I've done one, I use it as my template, and then I'm marking the rest of them so that I can just trim them all at the same angle. And that just made that much quicker and easier to do than actually measuring every one. But yeah, if I just leave it to chance, I end up with some of them that are very deeply notched and some of them that are just a little bit notched. And then I always wish that I'd measured them. So this is just kind of how I do this. And I'm going to keep on doing it for a while. I think I have a couple more. And here we go. I think this one might be the last one. There we go. Oh no, I have another. That stripe. I love that stripe paper in this month's kit. All of these papers are so pretty. I have to say that my favorites are always the gingham. I love gingham. I love wood papers. I really do like that floral as well. There's a lot of them. Look, this is the point where I'm like, I can't take how dirty this mat is, because not only is it dirty, but it was sticky. The reason that it was all black is because it was attaching, there was something black. And so I decided that that was the point where I couldn't take it anymore and it had to be cleaned. So I'm going to put my paper down, and that one had some marks on it, and so I'm just going to use my tombow dot roller to attach each of these. And like I do with the letters, I do the top piece and the bottom piece, and then I figure out how many pieces I have, and I kind of look at them, and then I can measure out how far apart, just kind of eyeball measure how far apart they need to be. And does that look good? And that way I know that I won't end up with a big gap between a couple of them. So I always like to start with the outsides. If it was an odd number, I probably would have done the one in the center as well, but that's okay. Those look pretty good. And it's going to have a dashboard on top of it, so you're not really going to notice the spacing between them. And so now that I have those all attached, I'm going to attach the dashboard. And so now I have a dashboard with a lot of little flags sticking out with my leftover pieces. And so now I'm going to attach my washi page to the other side of this. The washi will be the front and the dashboard will be the back. The squirrel, that squirrel just cracks me up. The expression on the squirrel's face, it just, every time I see it, it kind of makes me laugh. So it's kind of like, what are you looking at? But anyway, and then I'm just going in with a hole punch to punch the back side of the holes. And that washi is done. So I thank you so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and click the notifications bell so you'll be notified every time I make a video. Thank you so much and have a great day.